Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to more Battlefield. And today we're talking about Battlefield 1 in particular, and we're talking about realism, we're talking about historical accuracy, the things and the choices that DICE had to make in order for Battlefield 1 to happen. Now, I played the game a couple of weeks back at EA Play, and I loved it. I mean, I absolutely love the gunplay, I love the sounds of the game, the little click that makes it when you're almost out of ammo in your magazine, the weapons, the environment, the sort of the sounds, basically the whole thing. I loved it, and I only played it for about half an hour. Now, there is sort of rumor about closed alpha sort of happening in the next couple of weeks. This week, next week, or the week after at some point. So once I hear back from this rumor that's going to happen, then I'll let you know. I've tweeted Vince, who's the community manager, and hopefully he'll get back to me, and I'll let you know if that's going to be a thing or not. But let's get back to the actual topic of the day, and that's going to be historical accuracy and realism and things like that DICE had to do to sort of make this game happen. Now, let's just face facts here for a second. The reason why this game is being made is for it to sell. It has to sell in order for the company to move forward, and it has to sell, and it has to work in an environment where everybody wants to sort of pick up a game and just play it and be able to get a few kills and just have fun with it. Now, it doesn't really make sense for you to sort of make a game with bolt-action weapons and Lee Enfields and so many other things and so many other weapons that were used in World War One, where it's going to take you forever to get used to those weapons and the iron sights and recoil and realism and things like that. It's just going to make it so much harder for somebody to sort of pick up and play. Now, since Battlefield has gotten more popular in the past couple of years, since Battlefield 3, a lot of people have joined the franchise, and a lot of people are playing the game. And I think DICE were a little bit afraid of that, thinking, well, since everybody's used to flying MAVs and drones and lock-on weapons and things like that, automatic weapons, we can't really go and do what we did in 1942 and 1943. For me, it would have been perfectly fine, since I played those games, and I still play plenty of games that are sort of based around skill and based around sort of iron sights and based around that sort of thing. I play Verdun, I play Heroes and Generals, there's a lot of Red Orchestra and plenty of other games that you can mention. But those games are a little bit more realistic, they're making it sort of harder for you to sort of do stuff. And I think that's one of the reasons why they were afraid of not sort of doing that, because it's just going to make it harder. While Verdun, Heroes and Generals, and Red Orchestra and stuff like that, they're fun games. They don't really have, the hundreds of thousands and millions of fans that a Battlefield game would have. It's a sort of specialized niche market where a few people play it. They enjoy that sort of stuff, and I'm one of them. I still enjoy it. I still play, even though I don't really post a lot of Heroes and Generals, I just play the game because I sort of like the sort of feel of it, and I love the sort of thing about it. Now, let's face facts for a second here and talk about sort of the weapons and talk about sort of the vehicles and stuff like that we saw in Battlefield 1. Now, I covered this in a previous video and talked about the tanks that we saw in the gameplay. Now, the actual tank, the Mark IV did a 3.7 miles an hour, and he had a crew of 8, and that was pretty much it. The ones that we actually saw in the multiplayer gameplay, they're kind of flying tanks, they're much more sort of tuned up version of that tank. And the reason why you'd have that is you'd have it just because it works in a multiplayer game, otherwise it wouldn't really work. Same thing with the weapons. While chances are some of these weapons were invented in World War One, 99.9% of these weapons never actually saw service in the war by sort of your regular Joe, because they were just in the testing phases, and they're just so limited that nobody really used them. Most of these automatic weapons and so many other things that we saw in Battlefield 1. Now, do you really think that does really sort of make the game less what it could have been? Personally, like I said, I played 1942 and 1943. I would have loved to see that happen. I would have loved to see a huge World War One game that we're going to talk about for years. It'd be like the next Bad Company 2 that 6 years on people still talk about. But then again, I played the game, as I mentioned earlier on, and I loved it. I loved everything about it. We just, the next thing that we wait is just for the actual beta, so everybody plays it, and then we can sort of decide if everybody loves it or not. Now, chances are there's going to be servers where realism is going to be a thing, that you can only use sort of certain weapons with bolt action only, and you can only use sort of Lee Enfield or Car 98 or whatever, certain things where there's going to be servers where realism and things like that is going to be a feature. And I'm looking forward to those servers, I really am, because that's something that I'm sort of always been a fan of. But then again, does it really matter that Battlefield 1 is not realistic? Does it really matter that it's not historically accurate? Does it really matter that it's not a World War One sim? To me, it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, what you really want is a fun game. You want somewhere where you can come in with your buddies, have a bit of fun, get a few kills, do a bit of troll or whatever that you do with your friends, and that's pretty much it. And at the end of the day, that's what a game should be all about. It should always be about fun. And I think Battlefield 1 is going to be a fun game based on the decisions that they made. Before sort of we saw the gameplay and we played it, there was a guy that said he's worked on Battlefield 1 for a while, and everybody was sort of pitching him ideas from DICE. He was an EA guy. And they said they kept coming for years to me saying, oh, this is the next game, this is what we're going to do. And they kept pitching in Battlefield 1. And he always said, no, it's never going to work. Now, the reason why that's probably would never work is because they would said, well, it's going to be all bolt action, it's going to be skill, it's going to be harder for you to sort of get used to the game. And that's probably one of the reasons why he said no to the game, while this time around thinking, well, hold on, we can use prototype weapons, you can use certain things that didn't quite actually happen as they happened in the war. We can just sort of make it sort of work, if you know what I mean. So at the end of the day, that's kind of what the sort of feedback I'm looking for today from you as a Battlefield fan or a player or somebody that's been in the franchise for a little while. Not everybody's been there since day one, but still, you've been playing Battlefield for a couple of years now, so you'll just have to let me know what you think. Do you think it's going to make a difference that it's not going to be very realistic and it's not historically accurate? Or do you just think, I'm happy with what I've got, I'm sick of modern bullshit, and I'm just happy that we're finally getting a World War One game by a AAA company. It's going to be awesome. It's going to have tons of DLC, tons of weapons. It's going to be cool as hell. And I'm just going to be happy with that. Now, if you really want to sort of dig deeper into World War One and things like see where Battlefield 1 sort of going wrong about it and things like that, then you should just check out the Great War channel. I've mentioned him before. It will tell you everything you need to know about Battlefield 1 and where it's right and what it's wrong and all that sort of stuff. So, yep, that's it for me for today. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one.